Well, hi there. How are you guys doing today? Leisha has become invisible. Oh, I look crazy. I look crazy. This is my best look. Like I've been getting ready. I have actual like a list of things I wanted to talk about today. I've been all casual. I'm wearing my most Christmassy tie, matching all of this stuff. And then like just a few minutes ago, I'm like, ah! Live stream starts in 4 minutes. So all of a sudden, I thought I had all kinds of time. I was zipping around. Alicia will be here in a second. She's just getting baby Martha. Hey, we're very, very professional. In case you guys are wondering, like, yeah, we're pretty much the big time. let me make that full screen. But yeah, that works okay. Can you guys hear me all right? I never double checked to make sure the. Oh, well, thank you very much.
But
I'm looking sharp according to Jesse Scales. No big deal. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today. I have, like I said, I have a whole bunch of things I want to talk about. One of them, be thinking about this. I was talking to Anthony this morning, who just gave us a super duper chat.
Oh, wow.
But I was talking to Anthony this morning, and because we have a surprise for Anthony, but it's not ready yet. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, can we do it next week? And he's like, are you doing it on Friday next week? And I'm like, I think so. And then I looked at my calendar. I'm like, oh no. So next week is Christmas Day on Friday. I think at some point next week it'd be fun to do a live stream.
She's ready to be.
Her head's getting so fuzzy. But anyway, I think it'd be fun to do a live stream at some point next week. Get Leisha in there. But I don't know when. So we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but be thinking about like when should we do our live stream next week? Should we do it at the regular time? That might not be the best time for basically all of us. Yeah. So we'll chat. We'll figure it out. But let's see. Oh, I got so much stuff. What? I told you guys that all of our videos for the last little bit and actually into the future are pretty stinking rad. What do you guys think? Our poll was really fun.
What poll did you do?
I did a poll yesterday just asking them what their favorite video was of the last 4 animals we've covered, which are the vinegaroon, the Gila monster, the mink, and the green anaconda.
Those are great videos.
And I got to tell you, tomorrow's just as exciting, and the one after that might be the most exciting of them all, arguably. I don't know. I think the last one of this year, I feel like is an animal that people that have ever heard of it are going to be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be like, what's that?
Yeah.
And they might not care. So I don't know.
Are you going to tell them what it is?
No.
You are crazy.
Mum's the word.
Mum's the word.
But yes, indeed. But it's. I'm so excited, and I just got to see the video for the first one of next year. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about it because it's something we haven't done before. I've tried to do this many times, and it's just never become a video. Now it is, and I've seen the video, and it was awesome, and it's got me really excited for what 2021 is going to look like because. This is an awesome adventure.
It's different than anything
anything we've ever done. Ever.
It's exciting.
And so that was fun. Let's see. I have so many cool things to talk about. I want to talk about Christmas presents for just a second. Because as you noticed, this is Welcome to Miami. Mm-hmm. And not because we're in Miami, because this is our normal house, and so here we are. But since the last live stream, we did something pretty amazing and exciting, and it goes back really to. I'm very interested actually in research regarding happiness. It's something that it really interests me. Yeah. And, and I can tell you that for most of my life, I didn't place a lot of value in experience, like buying experiences, because it seemed like it was something you did for an hour or 3 hours or whatever, and then it was done and over and you never had it anymore. But I came across a study that I found really, really interesting. And it measured lasting happiness with respect to things that people would buy. And basically, any sort of a possession that you would buy, you'd get a spike in your happiness, and you'd be happy for a little while, and then you would just sort of assimilate it into your everyday normal, and then your happiness would go right back to where it was before you bought the thing. And this could be anything. It's even if you bought a Ferrari or something. You're like, oh, I love it for a little bit, and then you're like, that's my car, right? And it just becomes your car.
What if you bought a animal that everyone wants?
Honestly, even with animals, this is something I think I personally find myself to be a little less prone to this because I tend to stay very excited about the things that I get forever. But
annoyingly so.
Yes, annoyingly so. But it is something that can happen. Is where even like a dream animal, you get it for a little bit. I can't believe this happened, and then after a while, you're like, that's my snake, right? It's one among many, and that can happen to people. Anyway, the thing that this study also talked about was when people bought experiences, their happiness went up permanently. Those experiences became part of the narrative, the story of their life, the stories they would tell, the things that they would share with one another. And since this time, our family has put a real priority on experiences, much over any sort of physical gifts that we would give away, possessions and things like that. And we've never had a ton of money, and so we do have to be fairly calculating about the ways that we do things. And I'll tell you, throughout graduate school, the main way that we ever felt poor, because we always had the things that we needed, and we knew how to live frugally. I mean, Leisha's got her whole YouTube channel essentially about the fact that she can make amazing things out of very little, like all of her Christmas decorations.
Sweet.
And anyway, so for a long time, every year we've gone to Disneyland once a year with our family, and that's become our little family tradition. Not this year. It didn't happen, obviously. And last year for Christmas, what we got for the kids, we kind of felt them out as to the experience thing that they would want to have. And Penny Rose wound up wanting to go to Disney on Ice, which is something I never did as a kid, and I always wanted to do.
So we had a mommy-daughter date, and Penny Rose and I went to Disney on Ice.
Yep, and Owen was really into monster trucks last year, and so he and I went to Monster Jam, which is another thing I always wanted to do growing up. Yeah. But I'd never been.
We would have loved to do both these things as a whole family, but it was too expensive. So we're like, okay, we're going to do dates then. Yeah,
and the dates are really special and awesome. Yeah. And so anyway, to make a long story just a little bit shorter, that's the kind of thing we did. This year has been difficult because there aren't a lot of experiences available. Heck, even the reptile room is closed down. And last year, so some of you may know, especially if you've seen our video on the Sarah, I think it was on Sarah geckos, where there was one that had a perfect arrowhead on its tail. Mm. And so I named it Chief, and I talked about how I'm a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. And that video came out just shortly before the Super Bowl. Anyway, I've been a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs my whole life. And for some reason, early last season, Owen really is not like a follower of sports so much.
He loves to learn, but it's all about science.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, he's wonderful, but he's never sat down and watched a whole sporting event. Penny will watch.
He doesn't want to play sporting events either.
Yeah, he did soccer one year, and there was really only one piece of coaching I would give him during the game. I'd be like, Owen, where's the ball? Because he'd just be out there like. All the other kids are super
with his friends.
Yeah. He had a good time out on the field. Just every now and then the ball would come to him and be like, oh, but he wasn't super engaged with the game. Yeah. And so, but for some reason last season he decided he loves the Miami Dolphins, and who knows why? But it's like great, But I did warn him. I'm like, because last season the Dolphins were terrible. And I'm like, the Dolphins are horrible. Are you sure you want to be a fan? He's like, I don't care. And he doesn't. All right. But anyway, so Owen's been a fan of the Miami Dolphins. And this season, the Chiefs and the Dolphins played each other. And he was like talking about it all year. Mm-hmm. He'd be like, is the Chiefs Dolphins game this week? Is it this week? Is it this week? And as many of you know, I recently went to Miami with Dave Kaufman, and we got to see some amazing people while we were down there. It was a really awesome experience, and it was really my first time being down there. Anyway, just not too long ago, maybe about a month ago, Owen was still asking, when's the Chiefs-Dolphins game? And, well, I talked this over with Leisha first, and I thought it was just something that I was going to do with just Owen. But then Leisha wanted to come, and so we did a crazy thing, which is I've never in my life been to a Kansas City Chiefs game. And we decided to go. And to the Miami Dolphins Chiefs game in Miami. Now, to prepare ourselves for this, we quarantined ourselves completely for several weeks before we left.
Pretty much from Thanksgiving on.
Yep, from Thanksgiving on, we made sure we didn't really see anybody. So that we wouldn't be bringing COVID with us anywhere we would go. And so we avoided all human contact. We went down there, and we had really Chandler and Ruth, who films for Chandler, are the only humans that we really saw while we were down there. Even at the stadium, it was awesome because everybody's socially distanced, which is the perfect way to bring your family to a professional sporting event. Because there's nobody in front, nobody next to you, nobody behind you. Like, we just had our own little pod there. And I got to see my first Kansas City Chiefs game ever in my life. And
since we had a baby, we were allowed to bring in our bags. So we had tons of snacks for the kids. And it was way fun.
It was delightful. And anyway, that was such a fun experience. But then we also had a few days there in Miami to virtually avoid human beings. And so the night after we saw that, we actually saw Chandler from Chandler's Wildlife. Chandler, I really like Chandler a lot, and he lives
He's
actually.
A good guy.
Our plan was to go to the Florida Keys, or to the Florida Keys. I'd never been there, even though I used to live in Florida. I've never been to the Florida Keys, and so Chandler lives actually between Miami and the Florida Keys, and so we stopped by, and we took Chandler to dinner and just got to chat. My family got to meet him because I've been telling everybody how neat he is, but really, like, Dave is the only person that was with me who could vouch for me, and nobody trusts Dave's opinion. and nobody trusts me either, because why? Because I like everybody. I don't know. Everybody's like, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, but Leash, now that you've met Chandler, and the kids love it. Like Owen likes Chandler maybe almost as much as he likes Dave.
Yeah,
and Clint he loves Dave.
Who did you like hanging out with more, Dave or Chandler? And he was like, I don't know if he decided.
Yeah, but now Chandler did have the advantage of he has a king cobra there.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean he loves Dave, and he also loved meeting Chandler. It was super cool, and it was.
Chandler really does have a wild life.
Oh my God,
he's insane. He was showing us videos of alligators he's wrestled in the tarpon. Tarpon that he's fed, and we went and fed the tarpon. And
on Chandler's recommendation, had I seen Chandler's videos of him feeding tarpon before I fed the tarpon, I would have been much more concerned.
Insane. So when you drive out to the Florida Keys, we went beach hopping and we just explored all of the Keys. We didn't have a plan. We're just like, if it looks fun, we're gonna stop and do it. And so there was a place called Robbie's where you could feed tarpon, and it's super
that was the one thing that was recommended to us by Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler said, go do this. It's way fun. So they give you a bucket of fish, and there's a big dock, and you just lay down. And
there was a sign I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
It said, don't feed the pelicans. All right, that made sense to me, though I was excited to see the pelicans. I love pelicans. And don't feed the manatees.
Yeah, I was.
What? I was like, what? There might be manatees.
Show us the manatee.
And after a few minutes, bam, a manatee popped up.
It was so fun.
Oh my gosh! And I just posted a video of it on Instagram today of the manatee. I could have reached out and touched the manatee. I'm just pretty sure you're not supposed to do that.
It said don't feed or touch the manatees, the sign.
I learned some things about manatees while we were there because not everybody's a reader. And so some people had fish for the tarpon. Some people were throwing them to the manatee. Now, most of the time, the tarpon would come and get them, or a pelican, which you were also not supposed to feed, would get them. But I watched that manatee eat some fish. And the thing is, manatees are herbivores. Manatees, I don't know if you've ever watched a manatee. They're not well equipped for catching fish, right? They stink at bobbing for fish. Yes. But the thing is about real cows, too, and deer, and really any sort of herbivore, they will eat meat if given the opportunity. Anything that can digest grass can digest meat. Meat's very easy to extract nutrients from compared to vegetation. So anyway, it totally ate some fish while we were there. So that was a new learning experience. It was anyway, that was my first ever wild manatee I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was amazing. So anyways, feeding the tarpon, there's a big long dock and you lay down. Is this okay?
Oh, yeah.
You lay down and you like dangle the fish in the water. And Clint taught me that the tarpon are suction feeders, so they'll just come in and kind of
which is what they did for me.
And then swim back under and swallow it. And I was a little scared. Clint fed the first fish, and then I fed one, and then the kids were like, okay. The kids kind of just tossed it in the water, and the tarpon kind of fought over it. Chandler showed us his video of feeding it. He's laying his shoulder, he's up to his elbow in water, and he's insane. He's holding the fish in the water, and the tarpon are coming and grabbing onto his arm with their big, nasty teeth, and then sliding down and pulling he was like, I had all these cuts and scabs. It hurt so bad. And the next day I went to an alligator wrestling competition with all of these scabs all over my arms.
Where's our little wolf?
Theo. Oh, yeah. Penny has him.
Okay.
She
Sorry.
went to snuggle him.
Theo is never more than 10 feet away from us, so I'm like, where is the wolf? Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. I'm just talking about Chandler's wildlife.
Yes. Oh, I've talked to you a little bit about this, but after spending a little bit more time with him, I enjoyed Chandler so much, and I am so excited for him and the success that he's found, and the audience that he has, and because this is his life. Yeah. Reptiles are my biggest passion, but I'm into a lot of things. Yeah. Right. I talk to other people. Kenan and Tyler. I mean, Kenan is close too in this way. But we got a lot of passions maybe. Chandler, this is it, right? Chandler loves reptiles. He loves animals. He loves conservation. He is. That is on his mind all of the time, and he's gonna whatever means he has, he's gonna use to promote conservation. Yep. And I'm just so excited that he has found this platform, and and these means he sacrifices everything. And soon you'll see exactly how much he sacrifices, but he sacrifices everything for that mission, and he's encouraged me to be more outspoken about conservation, and so I will be in the future and try to promote directly more conservation efforts. But anyway, it was awesome. If you guys haven't noticed, on our last day there, so when we were coming back from the Keys, and we have more cool stuff from the Keys to talk about, because I'd never experienced any of this stuff before. We found a wild pufferfish, upside down jellyfish. Anyway, so cool. But on our way back, I got to help Chandler clean out his grumpiest king cobra's enclosure.
Who's in blue?
Yeah, who happened to be in blue at the time, making it all the more exciting. Yeah. And he released a video on that yesterday. I'll make a community tab post or something later with the link. If you can't, just search for Chandler's Wildlife here in a little bit and check it out. But man, that was an experience, because you probably know, his videos are kind of intense to watch as videos. You should try being there. Yeah. That was a wildlife experience right there for sure. For sure. Anyway, we'll get some more of this stuff, but I know we had some
super chats. All right. Let's start from the very beginning.
That's a very good place to start.
This is from Mark the Nerd. He said, "Hey Clint, my birthday was on the 4th. Can I get a happy belated birthday?"
Happy birthday, Mark the Nerd. And you're not the only one to whom I want to say happy birthday.
That's true.
Because on the 24th, I believe, is the birthday of our good friend Newt Scamander. And I just wanted to say, happy birthday, Newt!
/ Carson.
All right, we can also call you Carson.
Happy birthday, Carson.
Your street name. Happy birthday, Carson.
Thanks for supporting us and being a #1 fan.
You're awesome. Absolutely. You're incredible.
Let's see. Anthony Simon sent a super duper chat.
Super duper chat!
For the Reptile Room, my friends, hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. Much love to you all.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
And yeah, thank you for being so flexible, because what we would like to do, we have a little surprise for Anthony. We'd like to bring him on via Zoom somehow. We got some figuring out.
Or we can just do it with him without.
Well, we could do it with the Zoom on an iPad if I'm going really low tech.
Well, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Newt said, "Hey, that's me."
That's you. Happy birthday.
Let's see.
The 24th. That's Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend when I was growing up whose birthday was on Christmas Day, and he would celebrate his half birthday. So yeah, I guess that'd be in June, right? So that it wasn't all lumped together.
That's smart. Mr. and Mrs. Morelia sent $25. That's a
super duper chat.
And said, "Merry Christmas. That is all."
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
I love Mr. and Mrs. Morelia.
They're
They're always
very
Team
nice.
Leisha.
Didn't we see some Morelia thing while we were down there?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. Anyway.
Let's see. Robin George said, "Merry Christmas. Can you explain why I never see the teeth on snakes and lizards when they open their mouth?" Question.
So for the most part, the teeth kind of recede into the gums when they're not biting onto something. This is the case even with fangs. They kind of cover them, which probably prevents a lot of mouth injuries. I haven't really given it a ton of thought. Tooth breakage and just cutting up the inside of the mouth, that they're kind of ensheathed. But then when they open their mouth, the teeth kind of protrude, especially when they bite down on something.
Interesting. I never knew that. Let's see. Lauren Gore sent a super chat.
Super chat.
Thanks for the advice on my emerald tree skink last week. She surprised me with eggs, and they look good. How do you incubate yours? That's exciting.
Yeah, so I can't tell you too much. I think 83 degrees is the recommended temperature. I did have an incubator spike when I incubated mine and lost my first 2 eggs. What I have learned since then, and those first 2 eggs were laid in their quarantine enclosure. So what I've learned since then, basically their entire enclosure is a big lay box. And I'm not digging up the eggs because they don't seem to cannibalize the offspring. And so I'm just hoping they start hatching out and showing up in the enclosure. That will be a very exciting day for me. But I can't tell you too much yet. I'm still figuring it out myself.
Yeah. Let's see. Anthony sent another super chat. "Hi there, my friends. Fun question. Who out of these invertebrate-themed superheroes is your favorite? Spider-Man, Ant-Man, or Black Widow?"
Oh, boy. Spider-Man, Ant-Man, or Black Widow for the best arthropod superhero. There's also the Wasp. That is a tough one. Okay, so I know there's a Black Widow movie either that came out or is coming out. I haven't seen it yet. So Black Widow has always been part of just really the Avengers movies, but those are very good, as you know. The Spider-Man movies, I don't know I've seen every incarnation of all the Spider-Man movies. In fact, I know I haven't, but I've always enjoyed them. They've been some of the superhero movies I've enjoyed the most. Have been the Spider-Man movies. And the Ant-Man movies are very, very fun.
They're fun.
I kind of like all of those, but I guess here's how I'll put it. If I had to watch one of their movies once a week for a month, I would probably enjoy watching Ant-Man the most.
Same.
High five, Leash.
High five.
That's an Ant-Man high five.
Let's see. Rosie's Took a Life just sent a jumping pear that said #1 fan.
A jumping pear?
Yes.
Oh, a pear, like the fruit?
Yes.
Like, what's a jumping pear?
What?
What's a jumping?
Let's see. And Natalia Prado said, I wanted to suggest a lecture topic if you ever decide to do it. Evolution of caudal luring in snakes. Some are really extreme, like the spider-tailed horned viper from Iran. Merry Christmas.
That would be fun. I wonder how much is really known about that. I mean, caudal luring, for those of you unaware of caudal luring, is when snakes and other animals use their tail, which is what caudal refers to, their tail as an attractive lure for other animals that'll come over and be like, ooh, I think I might want to eat that. And they wander over there, and then blammo, they find out about the other side of the snake or whatever it is. Sort of like the lure by the alligator snapping turtle inside of its mouth, but down at the other end. And you get a lot of vipers do caudal luring. They seem to be the ones that you're a cutie. They seem to be the ones that I see doing the most caudal luring. And then you've got that spider-tailed viper. That's an interesting question. I like it.
Anthony said, how could I forget about the wasp? Let's see. Sorry, Rosie's took a life sent a $20 super chat.
Oh, super duper chat. What was it, $19.99? Oh, my super duper chat.
I want to thank you for all your amazing videos. So this is how I'll get back to you. I am your biggest fan.
Well, thank you so much. You guys are all just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Elisa Sternfield said, I am so jealous that you got to hang out with Chandler and see Kevin. Hail to the king, baby. I love all the new stuff you have been doing. GJ.
I should talk. Good job.
Oh.
Kevin is amazing. Okay, like I've been fairly aware of Kevin for like, I've seen a lot of king cobras in my life. Not like a bajillion, but 10. And Kevin is still just absolutely unreal when his head is like a baseball.
Yeah.
It's.
We also got to hold Ziggy. It's
huge.
Right?
Yeah.
Ziggy's famous, right?
Ziggy's very famous.
I was scared.
American crocodile. And, yeah. So anyway, back to Kevin.
Sorry, I didn't know you were Kevin.
Amazing. He's an amazing snake. Amazing snake. We didn't get him out while I was there, and I was fine with that. Right? Like honestly, though, when there's a dangerous snake out and Chandler's dealing with it, I'm just like, let him be okay. Right? Like I'm not like, yeah, I'm really thrilled. I'm not a thrill seeker. I just want him to be okay.
Yep. Yep. Let's see. Phyllis Wells says, can you say happy birthday to Annie? She turned 4 today.
Happy birthday, Annie.
Happy birthday, Annie.
Holy cow, this is the season for birthdays.
4 years old, turning into an old lady.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anthony said, so my friend, I understand that Dimetrodon was a stem mammal, therefore it was closer in relation to us than dinosaurs. What about it made it one of our ancient ancestors?
Cool question. So Dimetrodon, for those of you unfamiliar with it, came in all of your packages of little plastic dinosaurs that you bought as a child.
With the little fin on its back.
It just is one of them that happens to not be a dinosaur, along with the plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs and pterosaurs. Dimetrodon, and maybe woolly mammoths. I always came with woolly mammoths, and woolly mammoths are a fairly recent thing. But anyway, Dimetrodon's the guy. He's a quadruped, so he's down on all fours. But he's got a big sail on his back. Really, really awesome looking creature. He is part of a group though that are the synapsid reptiles. I should have brought my skulls. I brought all the skulls that Anthony and that Newt have sent to us. They're all now incorporated into our set.
That's awesome.
So now we've got a Carnotaurus, little Carnotaurus. We've got a Gaboon Viper, a Gila monster, and a Tuatara.
That's so cool.
I'm just beside myself with excitement. But so the reptiles, the modern reptiles that we're most familiar with are in a group called the diapsids, which means they've got 2 big holes in the skull behind their eyes through which jaw muscles can pass and protrude. I was actually examining this a little bit, and I've learned some new stuff about this, I think, but I'm figuring it out. Anyway, the mammals and the Dimetrodon are part of a group called the synapsids, which means they've only got 1 hole and it's the low hole. You can actually feel yours right here because there's bone right there, right? And you can feel your jaw muscles both above and below that hole. So anyway, you are a synapsid creature, and so are they. And the synapsids and the diapsids diverged a long time ago. I don't know if we have any evidence that Dimetrodon is like a direct ancestor of modern mammals, but it's part of that bigger synapsid reptile group, and as a result, it's more closely related to the mammals than it is to the diapsid reptiles because it shares more recent common ancestors with the mammals than it does with the diapsid reptiles.
Good. You're done?
Almost. There's another group.
Oh, no.
That also has one hole, but they've got the high hole instead of the low hole. Those are the euryapsids. I think the ichthyosaurs are euryapsids, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, okay, back to your show.
Okay. Let's see. Lauren Bevel said, Merry Christmas, guys. What makes the king cobra not a true cobra and not part of the Naja family? Also enjoyed your reptile room tour with Chandler. He seemed very careful and serious. He is and was, and he's. I mean, that's something that really stands out to me. Is he is not. He's not showboating with these animals, right? Like honestly, the way that he's dealing with. I mean, if I had a king cobra, I will tell you, I would do one thing very differently, which is I would have a locking box or a divider that could be inserted into the enclosure so that I didn't ever have to touch them. But if you're going to touch them, he does it as well as it can be done, I think. Anyway, back to so we actually, I talked to Chandler a little bit about that in that video, but the big thing with the king cobras is that the king cobra's closest relatives, based on morphology actually and on genetics, are the mambas. But the thing is, the mambas and the king cobras, to my knowledge, their closest relatives are the true cobras. Okay, so you've got a choice that you can make here, and this is the same thing with reptiles, right? If I want Dimetrodon to be a reptile, that's fine, right? But I need to include all the synapsids, because it's more closely related, say, to mammals than it is to the diapsid reptiles. So if I'm going to include it in the reptiles, I need to include the common ancestors that it shares with the reptiles. And you know who else shares those common ancestors? The mammals. And so I'd need to include the mammals in the reptile group to include Dimetrodon. But I could also just go, I'm not worried about the synapsids. Synapsid reptiles, that's a different group. When I'm talking about reptiles, I'm only talking about diapsid reptiles. You can do that. Right? You can choose, do I want to include them or not? And that's exactly the same situation with the cobras. Until not very long ago, the mambas were simply included in the cobras. If you include the mambas, then the king cobras are true cobras. But if you don't want the mambas to be considered true cobras, then you have to remove the king cobras as well, because they're more closely related to the king cobras are more closely related to the mambas than they are to the true cobras. Yep. Okay. Good answer. Let's see. Rosie's Toka Life said, Hi, Clint. I was wondering what your P.O. Box number is so I can send you fan mail. Jason linked that. It's 770 East Main Street, number 127 in Lehi, Utah.
Oh, you know that off the top of your... Oh, he linked it?
He doesn't.
Oh, he already did. You read that? I'm like, you know that off the top of your head?
No, I wish.
Like, wow. Okay.
Amy B sent a super duper chat.
Super duper chat.
$25.
Holy
Thank
smokes.
you. Merry Christmas. Do octopi have separate brains for each arm?
What's even better?
I did not know that. They do. I had no idea.
Even stinking better. Okay.
Also, Natasha said her birthday's in like 3 weeks.
So for the record,
Happy birthday, Natasha.
is this a separate one or same one?
Separate. Keep going.
Okay. For the record, octopus are invertebrates, and we as vertebrates have decided that we're not even going to honor the invertebrates with having a brain. We will refer to their cluster of neurons that are in primary control over all the functions of their body as a cerebral ganglion. Weak sauce. Okay, so technically these are ganglia instead of brains,
but they're pretty much the same thing.
Totally brains.
What
Anyway,
makes them different?
Nothing. They're in an invertebrate.
Okay.
It's just semantics. But
okay.
technically, I shouldn't be calling these brains. I should be insulting the invertebrates by calling them cerebral ganglia. Okay, but you might have noticed, actually, your brain doesn't run everything in you. If you go to the doctor's office, they hit you in the knee with a mallet, okay, which is a weird thing they've been doing for a while.
Do they still do that?
Oh, yeah. And what happens there, I mean, you know what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to make you kick.
How would you know? You haven't been to the doctor in like 15 years.
50.
Okay, keep going.
They hit you in the knee and you kick, okay? Now, your brain can be like, I don't want to kick today. I'm not a kicker, right? And you can focus really hard. You can tense up your muscles to try to stop it, but to some degree, you're going to kick. And it's because your brain had nothing to do with that decision. They hit you there. That sent a nerve response to your spine, and your spine went, go ahead and kick.
Why?
Because it's still. I mean, there isn't a major fundamental difference between the nerve centers in your spine and the nerve centers in your brain.
Interesting.
Right? It's your whole nervous system is really a thing. It's just got a huge processing and relay center in your head. And that by the way, this is kind of the nature of heads. All of your primary senses are located very close to your brain so that they can get messages there very quickly and respond more fasterly. So you get this phenomenon
Good
called
word choice.
Yeah. You got this phenomenon called cephalization, which is to have all of your sense organs located close to your main processing center. Okay. And
interesting.
Yeah, I rate that an interesting out of 10.
10.
But anyway, back to the octopus. The octopus does have a cerebral ganglion, a brain in its head foot. Okay, these are cephalopods, which literally means head foot. Okay, so in its head foot, it has a primary relay center, a cerebral ganglion, a brain. At the top of every tentacle, it also has a brain, as do lobsters, not with tentacles, but with their legs. If you ever watch like go to Red Lobster sometime and watch the lobsters.
Some people live by the ocean.
But you can't just go to the ocean and watch a lobster that easily.
I guess.
Go to Red Lobster, watch the ones in the tank. You'll notice all their legs are just busy doing individual things. The lobster's not like, okay, second leg from the top on the right side is what is it feeling like?
I don't call my leg a second leg from the top.
That's because you've only got one right leg and one left leg. You just call it right leg, left leg, right? You're not a decapod.
Yeah, but what about my arms?
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing about not even being a quadruped is, arms, legs, left leg, right leg, left arm, right arm. That is not my left arm, by the way. But when you've got like a bajillion paired appendages, as is the case with most arthropods,
a bajillion,
including the fact that a lot of lobsters and stuff have what are called biramus legs.
What does that mean?
Biramus appendages is something unique to the crustaceans. Now, the crustaceans, by the way, are a total garbage heap.
We're getting on tangent after tangent. This is
I
like it.
Exciting thing to talk about.
Okay, keep going.
So the crustaceans are a garbage heap group of just all the arthropods that I don't really want to bother understanding where they fall. So I just throw all my extra arthropods in there. Anyway, one thing is they're all. If an arthropod doesn't have biramus limbs, then I'll consider understanding where it goes. But if it has biramus limbs, just stay in my garbage heap, you biramus limbs. What biramus limbs mean is that you've got one attachment point to the main body, and then at some point it just forks off into two limbs. I would guess. And so they've got biramus antenna. You'll notice biramus limbs. Anyway, they got loads of legs to keep track of. That one brain, that's a lot for a little lobster brain. But each leg has got its own not cerebral. It has its own ganglion that is running the show. And the brain can take control of all the legs to coordinate movement for walking and stuff like that. But while they're just feeding, the brain's like,
same with octopi.
You guys take care of this. It's like a pyramid scheme going on in these things. Anyway, the octopus are the same way in that every tentacle has its own ganglion that can run it. Now they can coordinate. They can coordinate in the brain, cerebral ganglion, or they can just be like, hey, you tentacles do your own thing. But it gets better. For it endeth not there.
You're crazy.
Every sucker on their arm has its own ganglion.
That's a lie.
It is not a lie.
a lie.
And they taste with it. They feel and they taste.
That's a lie.
It's so stinking rad.
All of the thingies, all the sucker things.
All the suckers have
How
their
do
own
we know?
ganglion. Well, you can dissect
You can
them
open
and
it
see
up
them.
and see the brain.
Yeah.
No, that's not. How many brains do they have?
Lots.
How does the main brain keep track of all the little brains?
Doesn't. It goes, you guys do your own thing now. And then every now and then when it's necessary to coordinate together, it goes, okay, I'll take control now. And that's really the benefit of having a brain. There are plenty of organisms that have no brains at all. For example, jellyfish, which we saw stinking upside down jellyfish at the beach. We found one on the shore. It was upside down and it was still pulsing. And so I moved it back into the water. And when I was getting there, I noticed there were upside down jellyfish. And I'm like, this might be an upside down jellyfish. So first I put it right side up just to see if it would swim away. And it was kind of not any good at the swimming thing. So I flipped it upside down. It was totally the same as the upside down jellyfish that are in there. It was upside down jellyfish. Saw it in the wild. It was bodacious. Which, can I tell, since we're on tangent day, I got to talk about jellyfish.
Oh, dear.
So jellyfish have no brains. They do have nerves, but they've got what's called a nerve net, which is, there's no central processing center. And jellyfish don't really think about stuff. It's just, just like you're hitting the knee and you kick. That's sort of how they do things. If I receive this sort of a stimulus, I do this thing. And they do it all the time. But one of the craziest things about jellyfish is, jellyfish, most of them, or many of them at the very least, start out their lives as tiny little polyps. A polyp is a cnidarian, which is what these are, like anemones and corals and stuff, jellyfish. But it's on the bottom of the ocean. It's attached, and it's just a little polyp guy. And when the polyp matures, it will start forming these little kind of plate structures. And each one of those will bud off and swim away.
Like an ice cream cone.
And grow up into an entire jellyfish. So this one jellyfish splits into this one tiny little polyp splits into what will eventually be many, many jellyfish. These jellyfish swim off. They do sexual reproduction with one another. So they go off and they mate. And their offspring are more little polyp guys.
That's so
There's
crazy.
even one kind of jellyfish that sometimes the medusas, which are the floating jellyfish parts, can go back and settle onto the bottom and turn back into a polyp. And so arguably they never die. So those are called the immortal jellyfish.
Which ones?
The immortal jellyfish.
Oh, just the ones.
They are a polyp. They bud off. They make
All
jellyfish.
jellyfish do that? Or just
No, just this one. Usually they reproduce sexually and make new polyps that way. By the way, the original polyp is still on the bottom. So this is sort of like, okay, if you started off your life stuck to the ground somewhere and your head just started to split, and you butted off a whole bunch of these little guys that ran off, and they all grew up.
Don't make that sound effect.
Grew up into giants, and they mated with each other and made more polyp people like you.
Are we done? So, quick question about the octopus section.
Yes.
It grosses me out.
The noise?
The noise was fine. Just it made it more real seeing all the little.
Perfectly illustrative.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I want to watch an octopus, because you when they're on glass and stuff, you can see each suction comes off one at a time. Mm-hmm. And that's because
well, remember that they can do larger scale control, right? The arm could do coordinated motions for the whole arm, or the head foot ganglion could control everything, so they all work together.
That is
because that's sort of what brains are about, and nervous systems in general is coordinating activities.
That's so interesting. Okay, Anthony, wait. Do you want to keep doing super chats, or should we pop over to Patreon for a minute?
One more super chat.
One more. Anthony sent a super duper super chat.
Super duper chat.
What did I call it? Super duper super chat.
Something like that.
He sent $50. Thank you so much.
Oh my
Anthony.
Goodness.
Staying in the vein of stinking rat ocean creatures, do you think there's a way to successfully keep? I know that this is a real word.
Coelacanths?
That's the one.
I just guessed. That that's going to be coelacanths.
Yeah. In captivity in a zoo safely and give it an enriched life. Also, could you say what makes the lobe-finned fish so rad?
Okay, so keep coelacanths. Probably. So here's the thing.
I've heard of coelacanth, but I can't recall what they are.
Okay, I'll talk about coelacanths. This day is coming together
You
quite
are
nicely.
crazy.
So coelacanths are a fish that we thought had gone extinct with the dinosaurs. Okay, and they're a great.
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah, great big funky fish.
Okay, that's
They've
why
got lobed fins, which means they've got. Well, if you look at the ray fin fishes, basically their whole fin is made up of fin rays that are webbed with a little bit of skin. The lobed fin fishes have huge bony structures that go down into the fins. Actually, they've got all the same bones that you've got in your arm down in their fins. And we only knew of the coelacanths from the fossil record until some fish biologist was walking through an Asian fish market and went, what the? Pretty sure that's been extinct for 65 million years. Do you have a time machine? And I'm sure they bought that dang fish and went, where did you find this fish?
Yeah.
And since this time, we've found at least 2 species, maybe more, of extant coelacanths. And they're often called a living fossil. It's not because the species of coelacanths that we find today are found in the fossil record, for they are not. But the only thing we find similar to them is in the fossil record. And so the rest of their lineage is extinct, only they remain. That's sort of the definition of a living fossil. Ginkgo biloba would be another one.
Yeah.
There's one species of extant ginkgos. In the fossil record, we find loads of other species, but that's the only place you can find their close relatives is in the fossil record. Anyway, could we keep them? Could we keep them? These guys seem to live sort of off of the continental shelf, maybe at very deep depths. I really don't see any reason why we couldn't. I mean, if you can get pressure high enough to make them happy, and they might come up. I mean, it might be a very, very elaborate setup, but if you were so inclined, you probably could keep a coelacanth successfully. I think one of the things is just concern over, endangering their population from taking too many of them out of the wild, especially if we're experimenting with their keeping. But we keep nautiloids and stuff, and I bet a similar setup would work for a coelacanth if you had one that was really big. I'm guessing there. There was more to that question.
Lobed fish.
What makes them so rad?
Mm-hmm.
Lobe-finned fishes are super cool. So among the lobe-finned fishes, we actually talked about this one a little bit in our feeding adaptations video, I think, because we talked about lungfish. So you've got the coelacanths and you've got the lungfishes, which are really the ones that you see. And I mean, lungfishes are absolutely bodacious. They can go years out of the water, which is a long time for a fish.
It's so insane.
And they walk around on land with their goofy little lobe fins. But theirs are long and whip-like. The coelacanth would do better. Coelacanths also, the way that they move is really unusual. They have alternating, because they've got 2 sets of paired fins, just like, well, we have 2 sets of paired appendages. And most fish don't coordinate their movements, but if you watch a coelacanth swim, it does the same sort of movement pattern that most vertebrates use to walk.
Interesting.
Most terrestrial vertebrates.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Now it's time for Patreon, right? Patreon.
Richbox says, do you have recommendations for fireproofing / exit checklist for your habitats to help calm anxiety when leaving the house for a day or 2?
I have ideas. I mean, one of the things is just to make sure everything is wired and insulated really well.
Timers.
I use timers, but timers aren't going to help during the day that much. But timers are good. Putting everything on surge protectors. I did find this thing a while back that I haven't actually invested in, but I like the idea of them very much. It's these big ball things that when they get really hot, they explode with fire retardant chemicals, and they put out fires. And you can put them in little cages. So that would be a thing you could look into. And then just making sure you've got good smoke detectors. If you can have any way of, like if you get a Wise Cam, WYZE, which I have used also to capture an escaped lizard, because they've got motion detecting, but they've also got smoke detector detecting stuff. So this would help a lot if you're leaving for a little while. Is you could have a Wise Cam set up, and it would at least ping you if your smoke detectors were going off, so you could contact the fire department.
Yeah. Good tips. Okay, Joe Flying Out said, "Hi Clint, we are about to get our first ever northern blue tongue skink. We are so excited, but we are wondering what plants you would recommend for its enclosure. What should we absolutely avoid? We are mostly considering pothos as our plant of choice."
Yeah, so here's been I tried some grasses, didn't work. The thing is,
Neither?
no, blue tongues like to dig.
Yeah.
So don't put anything in that's toxic, but recognize they're probably going to dig it up, whatever it is.
And they like it somewhat arid, don't they?
Depends on the species. A lot of them need some humidity.
Because you can get really, and I don't know, you'll have to tell me if this isn't okay. I don't know, but you can get really realistic looking air plants. And just get fake ones, and you can glue them onto the sticks, which adds a lot of beautiful dimension to a otherwise really plain enclosure.
I usually don't like fake plants very well, especially for like arboreal species that are climbing on them and pooping on them and stuff like that. But I think some fake grasses or fake kind of grassland plants would look really sharp, would give good cover.
Yeah.
And yet
they look more realistic to grasses and air plants.
Yeah, they do. They look a lot more realistic, and they look better than dead plants.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anthony said, "So my friend, given your affinity for great white sharks, I'm curious what you think would be the best pet shark." Spoiler alert.
No spoilers there. That would never happen.
Moving on.
Sharks, craziness. So, what would be the best pet shark? I will tell you, there are lots of fish that make very reasonable pets that people call sharks. They're not sharks, though. They're mostly carp or catfish. Catfish actually are really cool because a lot of catfish are heavier than water, and so they use their pectoral fins to fly underwater just like sharks do, and so they have a very shark-like swimming technique. I don't know what you call it, style. So I love catfish, but we're talking real sharks here. And I will tell you, none of the sharks are very easy when it comes to keeping them. I adore sharks, so all my life I'm like, can I keep a shark? Is there any way? And I am considering trying saltwater for the first time soon, because I want to start working my way there. There are some sharks that are not wholly unreasonable, okay, that you can keep in. I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but if you got a few $1,000s to throw into your setup and you're experienced with, sorry, I'm boring Leisha. I'm all excited about sharks. But, if you know a lot about cycling your tank and water chemistry and salt and all of that stuff, things like cat sharks, bamboo cat sharks, they can be fairly reasonable. Now, I do think, they're real cool. They're really cool. They're not as cool as a lot of the other sharks because most of the time, during the day especially, they're just going to be sitting on the bottom, sort of hanging out. And they're the most reasonable shark that gets me really excited is a shark called the epaulet shark, which is a more expensive shark to buy. You can actually get a bamboo cat shark, especially if you get an egg, for fairly little money. But the epaulet shark really excites me because this is a shark that gets up on land and walks between tide pools. And yet it's still a shark that's going to sit on the bottom. It doesn't get super big or anything, but it's just got such a cool story. I love those. When it gets into the sharks that are swimming around a lot, the ones that I've seen for sale are leopard sharks, and I've seen you can buy a dang black-tipped reef shark. But those sharks are going to get enormous. I mean, the enclosure you're going to need for that is going to cost more than a decent house. And
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Robert Watson said, "Hi, Clint. Since it's getting towards the end of the year, I thought I might ask a slightly less sciencey question than I normally do. So here goes."
No terrible words today?
Yeah.
Anthony got you a coelacanth.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite misnamed animals? My top 3 are the electric eel, not actually an eel. Is that true?
Yeah, I think definitionally because it's got fins that would make it just a fish.
Huh. The king cobra, not actually a cobra. The mantis shrimp, not a mantis, and not a shrimp. What's a mantis shrimp? A fish?
No, it's still a crustacean.
Oh, it is.
But I guess there's probably a monophyletic group for shrimps, and it's not in there.
Interesting.
It's shrimpish though, but so are lobsters and crabs.
Yeah. So which ones? Do you have any favorites besides those, or one of those? There's
one that's really stood out to me a lot lately. Oh. My favorite. Oh, there's one that was bugging me like crazy. Well, I mean, we could start with things like the cuttlefish and the starfish and all kinds of not fish that live in the water.
Seahorse.
Yeah, seahorse. Seahorse is sort of an interesting thing. So there was and you see this with water bears and all kinds of stuff. There was a time when people thought that all terrestrial animals had an aquatic or marine equivalent.
Sorry, I'm paying attention to the cute baby noises. I did not know that.
Yeah, sea lions. They do live in the sea, but they're not lions. Sea cows. Yeah. See, this is that is an artifact of that time. A lot of these things.
You'll come up with it later when you're not thinking about it.
Oh yeah,
it'll pop in your
I'll
brain.
be thinking about this for days.
Laura, it's true. Laura Gore says, "Have you ever made an excuse to get out of an engagement to hang out with reptiles instead? And so, what was the excuse?"
An excuse to hang out with reptiles?
No, an excuse. You had to get out of an engagement so that you could hang out with reptiles. Clint's a very loyal and genuine person. If he says he's going to be there, he'll be there. But I think there are times when you would rather go hang out with animals than like be with us. Like,
you?
Yeah, if you needed a long time.
Not so much from Leisha.
Yeah.
There are times when I would rather be with animals specifically because I need to take care of the animals. Like not because I would be having more fun with the. I will tell you honestly, this is that I can recall. The reptiles that I have been the most motivated to like go see, emerald tree skinks. But I had to take some videos of them before I went to Miami with Dave because I was like, I'm gonna go through emerald tree skink withdrawals.
Let's see. Ash says, is it impolite to ask how many reptiles someone has? It's just a number. Seriously though.
It's not impolite. I think sometimes you're gonna get the answer of I don't know.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And I think some people feel insecure about telling people how many reptiles they have just because they don't want to get in trouble with their neighbors or have people be insecure about who they're living next to and stuff.
You know, and the thing about keeping reptiles too is for people who don't keep reptiles. You know, say for people who are only familiar with keeping dogs or cats. Right? And cats are more reasonable than dogs. But if you find out your neighbor has 10 dogs, you're like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. Like, what is going on there, right? And so when you hear your neighbor has 10 snakes, a lot of the time it's like, oh, well, that's even weirder.
Yeah.
Right? That you're crazy. But
I knew a weird kid in high school who told me one day that he lived on a snake farm. I'm pretty sure I never talked to him again. I was like, what is a snake farm? Never said.
That's why I waited until we were married. I'm like, we're going to live on a snake farm.
What's a snake farm?
She goes, what's a snake farm? Like a good neighbor.
Or his family just...
Snake farm is there.
Was his family just breeding snakes to sell? Or
probably.
Why did he call it a snake farm? Why didn't he just say we breed snakes?
Well, how often have you
I've never heard anybody... In the 10 years that I've now been...
What do you do? We breed corn!
In the 10 years I've been in the reptile, introduced to the reptile, we have never... Since him, heard anyone say, I live on a reptile farm, or a snake farm, or a gecko farm.
You take I-25, takes you to 35, then 5 miles west to the snake farm.
Stop. Oh, dear. Okay. Lee Dennis says,
does anybody know that jingle? I might not be the only
one. Lee Dennis says, one of my textbooks states that... it's a science name. Veiled chameleon can tolerate high humidity, but does not seem to require it in captivity. Do you agree with this assertion? I've recently acquired one. My current method to provide water and ambient humidity is via a drip system and spraying twice daily. My specimen is not displaying any signs of dehydration. Should I invest in a misting system, or is my current practice adequate?
The Yemeni chameleons or veiled chameleons come from a much more deserty region than all the Madagascan chameleons. And so they are a lower humidity species than other chameleons. Now the thing is, a drip system especially is a very good idea because chameleons, they don't get water bowls generally. You know, they're like, I don't know what that's about. Because they live up in a tree. So water bowls don't tend to happen. What does happen is dew. And so they get droplets of water, especially if it's dripping and moving. They don't get it.
Rebecca Van Cohenberg says, LMAO, we're snake farmers. Are you really snake farmers, or do you just breed snakes sometimes?
They're alligator farms. Somebody pointed that out.
I know, and I've heard of alligator farms, but I feel like alligator farms are breeding for skin and pelts.
They often are.
So are snake farms breeding for pelts?
I don't know. Is that how you define it? If you're breeding for pets, you're not a farm. If you're breeding for meat and other animal bits or their eggs, so that you can have snake omelets.
Okay, we're moving on.
Then you're a farmer.
So is their current setup adequate?
Okay, what was the
chameleon?
That it doesn't.
The veiled chameleon.
If you're missing it
twice daily, and they have a drip system.
Yeah, it's probably doing great.
Okay. And do they need a misting system, or is that fine?
Probably not, but find a really good care sheet. Find what they're recommending for humidity levels, but they're much more tolerant of dry conditions than most chameleons.
C. Ryan Chirac said, "Whoa! I just listened to the latest lizard. I just listened to the latest Lizard Lunch podcast and had no idea Will was a Cracklin' Oat Bran connoisseur."
Will,
what's Oat Bran? Is that?
Cereal? I will get to this.
Wait, there's more.
Whoa! You got to give me one thing at a time.
Okay,
I can only choose so much. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, for our patrons at Patreon, Will, Jason, and I generally, those sometimes the lady folk join us. We do a little podcast. It's been a little hit and miss during COVID, but before that it was weekly. Yeah. But we've been doing it actually as a video podcast lately. And so, if you're not currently supporting us on Patreon, at least check it out because there's some pretty rad stuff. But Will revealed that his favorite cereal is Cracklin' Oat Bran, which is one that I actually love myself. I even have special warm fuzzies. When I was a little kid, just a few times, my dad took me out doing something called ice racing, which is where you race four-wheel drive vehicles on a frozen lake up in the mountains.
I have never heard this, and I don't believe that was your father.
Yeah.
That was your father lookalike.
So anyway, this guy who looked a heck of a lot like my dad took me up there. This also supports your hypothesis. We would eat Cracklin' Oat Bran dry as a snack, and it is so good. It's full of saturated fat, but that's why
not your dad.
When he discovered that was the end of the Cracklin' Oat Bran, and as far as I recall, the ice racing. So maybe he looks at that box. He's like, none of this. We're getting rid of all.
Your dad did ice racing.
Ice racing.
That sounds so unlike him.
He rode dirt bikes when he was.
So that's a cereal Cracklin' Oat Bran?
Mm-hmm.
What is it, like flakes or what?
No, it's like O's of compressed oat branness. It's like really yummy. No, much bigger O's.
Like Fruit Loop O's?
And more natural seeming.
Like with brown sugar and stuff?
Oh, I don't know. We'll get some. They're so good.
Yeah, get me some. Okay, I take back everything I wrote about him going soft. Anyone who represents the Cracklin' Oat Bran has earned their boss card in my eyes.
Oh, Will's definitely a boss.
And he's a pirate.
He is a pirate. And if you follow our podcast, you'll know all about Will because he is a pirate.
Yeah.
Like Will is just his alter ego that he does on the side.
Jason said Cracklin' Oat Bran equals cat food. And then Michelle said, haha, Jason, Cracklin' is delicious.
It is. Also, if you're not that familiar with Will, Will is really, really helping oversee our Discord server.
Yep.
We now have an official Discord server, which you will see down in the comments soonish.
Soonish. Here's an idea about it. This is still C. Ryan Shyrock. Here's an idea about a taste off video. We really want to do
Jason does taste offs in his real life. Beg him to make a video of it.
Yes.
There should be a whole channel.
Jason and
called
Karen
The Great
started
Taste Off.
doing taste test offs like by themselves years and years and years ago. And then they would invite us to a few. So we've done with Jason and Karen, we've done apple taste test offs. We've done
Peanut butter.
We've done, they started
Barbecue
it with
sauce?
root beer. We've done barbecue sauce for my birthday
Yeah,
party.
root beer.
We did sparkling cider flavors. What else? We've done a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're the best.
I think they did
Would you
tortilla
watch
chips.
these?
Tortilla chips.
That's right. If we made videos of these great test offs, these bracketed tournaments of
Yeah.
taste offs that we do,
And they're
Would you
blind.
watch?
They're blind.
they're blind taste offs.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody who goes there has to be blinded first.
And so it says, how about a blind testing of the various crested gecko diets to see if Clint and Jason can guess the flavor?
Oh, that's Pangea.
Maybe
It goes down smooth.
Oh, come on. Not only would that be a must-see TV, but it would be relevant to the reptile hobby.
You
as
act
well.
like that's so crazy, but I went to Emily's and ate cricket tacos, so
Yeah. Okay. I would like to do a taste test off, though. That would be fun.
Honeycrisp, I think, wins apples, doesn't it?
Mine that I liked was a very common one. Will's was like you hardly ever
Do you want to know who nobody's apple is? Red Delicious.
Yeah. Too mushy.
Oh yeah, it was selectively bred. Oh, can I talk about this?
Okay.
They were selectively bred for appearance, not for flavor or not mushiness. But the thing is, too, all of these apple varieties, you can't, like, I can't take a Granny Smith apple seed and plant it in the ground and grow an Granny Smith apple because of sexual reproduction. Even if it's the same Granny Smith apple flower breeding with itself, because of recombination, it's not going to be exactly a Granny Smith apple. So the only way that you can get Granny Smith apples is you make a cutting of a Granny Smith apple tree and you grow it as an asexual clone.
Yeah.
And they've actually got different apple tree lines that have been bred for really good roots. And so they'll start off one of these rootstock trees, they'll grow it up, they'll cut off the top of it and graft in a branch from like say the Granny Smith or the Golden Crisp or whatever kind of apple it is tree into there and grow these awesome apple trees. And that's the only way to get them. Same thing with cuties and all kinds of stuff. Like there's a reason the cuties are better than all the other clementines. When the other clementines can't keep up, it's because you couldn't even plant cutie seeds and get cuties.
Elliot Paris says Clint's fake father sounds cool. Clint's fake father is cool.
Oh, he's man.
His real father is just
Awesome too, and he watches these live streams.
No,
Leash.
I'm not saying he's not awesome. He's awesome. He just doesn't do ice
He doesn't
racing.
do ice racing.
He doesn't
or
eat French
high
fries.
saturated.
or-
He does eat sweet potato fries.
That's true.
We got him on those.
Yeah, we did.
He won't. Yeah. That's his biggest vice.
His real father is amazing, but he doesn't do stuff like that these days.
No. Yeah, but he used to be a rebel.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know he was a rebel. Okay,
He had a motorcycle most of my life.
That's true. I did know that.
That does not seem like the kind of thing he would do generally. But here we are.
So we're back to super chats
Super chat.
again. Do, 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 do. Okay. Sure, stop. Sherry, no. Sherry, I knew you were gonna do it again.
I didn't.
Sherry,
That's so good.
Sherry LBW sent a super chat and said, "Merry Christmas to you and your family, Leisha. What are some crafting supplies you would like but find hard to get in your area?"
Leisha loves crafting supplies because she's
I do.
and crafting supplies. Hey, I saw a great meme. It was about DIYing.
Yeah.
It's like, why buy it at the store for $8
Yeah.
when you could make it yourself?
For hours and with
With $800 worth of crafting supplies.
Nah. So something that I've always really wanted but have never gotten is a cordless glue gun.
Oh, no.
They have cordless glue guns. They use like the same batteries that you would use in a drill, and that way you could have a few batteries and never run out.
That is a cool one.
Yeah. What are crafting supplies? I think in Utah.
Oh, you'd
crafting
like
is
a cricket.
I
At
probably
one time you did. at least. Jason has a cricket, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm just scared because I've never used it. I don't know. It would be a steep learning curve for me. And one thing that I don't like about crickets is you can't, I guess with anything, you can't like cut big. It has to be like the size of the blade, which is only this wide. And Utah's a big crafting center. I know a lot of YouTube channels that are based in Utah, like big YouTube crafting channels. And so there you can find most everything here. It's just the money that it takes to. Yeah, it's very expensive. I was into card making for a while, but I stopped being into card making because anytime I wanted to make a card, it was really like the inks and the dyes and the stamps, and to get all the supplies you would need to make a really cool card would be a lot.
You do a lot of watercolor.
Yeah, I do a lot of watercoloring.
Are there watercoloring supplies that you don't have that you would?
Paper. I like the Arches cold press paper, but I don't buy fancy paper. Okay. Lindy's making mental notes. Don't make mental notes.
Oh, I don't need to. I got it recorded.
I love you. Okay. Rosie's Toka Life, she says, they say, you are my most favorite YouTuber in the whole wide world, and my favorite reptile in the whole wide world is a blue-eyed leucistic ball.
A blue-eyed leucistic ball python.
Oh, I see. A blue-eyed leucistic ball python. How about you? Rosie's, I have not seen your name, so I'm guessing you're new around here. And if so, welcome. If you're not new and you're just starting to comment, also welcome.
Yes. So thank you so much. And you have great taste in ball pythons. I don't know if that's my favorite reptile, but it is my favorite ball python morph. And ball pythons have got to be up there as one of my favorite reptiles to keep. They're just delightful. They're delightful stuff. So I like it. My favorite, though. Oh, boy, you guys know I would struggle.
Fleeting Candle sent 25 Canadian dollars.
Super duper chat!
Said, nice decorations. Enjoyed the vid if they're making.
That was you.
These?
Yeah.
Thank
you. You just released that one. Was that today?
I released it this morning.
No big deal. On Why Not Me,
Yeah.
Leisha's YouTube channel. It's so cute.
It's embarrassing. Even Clint's watching it. I'm like, stop watching that.
Yeah,
it's
she was so embarrassed. I'm like, but I'm your biggest fan. Because I am.
You're so cute. I love you. Let's see. Ricky, Troy, Mosley. Oh, wait. I skipped one. Alex Belcher sent a super chat. New Halloween costume. Clint from the Snake Farm.
Yeah.
Now you got to sing your jingle.
Well, I don't know if I have that one. Welcome to the Snake Farm.
No, the one that you were singing.
Well, that was my. I don't know if that's Clint from the Snake Farm. That's the jingle, though. You want me to hear? You want to hear the jingle again?
I do.
Okay. This actually gets you to a real place, which isn't a snake farm. So don't be horribly disappointed. You take I-25 to exit 235, then 5 miles west to the snake farm.
What is it actually?
It's called the Tree Farm.
A tree
It's in
farm
Denver.
to like cut Christmas trees or what?
I don't think so. I think they sell trees, like not dead trees.
Is it a yokely
Murder
voice like that?
Sort of. Try to find the Tree Farm jingle. You keep
Clint,
going.
What would your costume be if you were Clint from the Snake Farm?
Oh, I would just wear overalls and have a piece of wheat sticking out of my mouth.
Would you have gauges?
It's complicated. You might need some gauges.
Yeah.
A neck tattoo.
Yeah.
So I'd have to call Tyler up.
Yeah.
Like, Tyler, I need a neck tattoo.
For my Snake Farm costume.
We take our costumes very seriously. What do you want in it, Chameleon? I want our Clint's Reptiles logo.
Let's see. Ricky Troy Mosley said, looking forward to our live chat on Monday. What do we do with them? It's our first one. Is it just a tour of the reptile room or what? Great question. People email us all the time this question. Like, what should I be prepared for? What do we do? So when you schedule, we send you out a link a couple days later that it's just a Zoom link, and you click on the link. It'll lead you to the directions of how to set up Zoom. If you've never done that before, it's really self-explanatory. And if you have, it's super easy. And then you get to, when you schedule, there's a place to put in comments. Like, I'd like to see guest, or I want to talk about the evolution resolution of snakes or whatever you want to talk about. And it's just on a one-on-one. It's just Clint and the reptile room and you and whoever. People ask all the time, like, can I invite my girlfriend? Can I share this with my dad who lives in a different state? Yes, you can send the link to whoever you want, and you get to talk with Clint at the reptile room for an hour if you schedule an hour, or 30 minutes if you schedule 30 minutes, and about whatever you want. You can say, I want to see a room of the tour, and Clint will walk you around. He has it on his phone, and so
here's what I would liken it unto. Okay, I would say it's like, okay, imagine that you and I are hanging out for an hour or whatever at the reptile room. What would we do? There's only one thing that's different than that situation, which is somehow, and this is like one of those sci-fi things that they don't explain exactly how it happened, but somehow this happened to you. Somehow you got trapped in my phone. Okay, so now I carry you around with me, and we chat about reptiles, and we look at reptiles and hold reptiles, but you are trapped in my phone. It's just one of those things that happened to you, and you just have to get used to your new reality.
So you can talk about whatever you want. A few weeks ago, a couple had just got a ball python and lost it, and Clint helped them.
That was the best.
And
that was the best.
Yeah, anything you want. Did you find it?
Oh, I did.
Oh dear.
I don't.
Are you Colorado proud? We are. For over 3 decades, Heidrich's Colorado Tree Farm Nursery has been your local source for the highest
I hope this
trees,
works.
shrubs, and perennials.
It's only 30 seconds.
Need ornamental grasses and beautiful perennials for your front yard? How about a vegetable garden or
Little
fruit
free
orchard?
advertising.
Or maybe a majestic shade tree to
Hey,
cool off
it's
on.
majestic.
No matter what your needs, we have plants you can be proud of. Stop by today or check out our new website and let our friendly, knowledgeable family help yours. Heidrich's Colorado Tree Farm Nursery on Whitman Road, just east.
That's not even it. What a great tease that was. Oh,
Great tease.
Man.
Darn
this
it.
is the worst day ever.
Let's see.
That was just some other tree farm.
So yeah, great question, Ricky. Look forward to it.
Hey.
It's really fun.
I searched tree farm jingle, and one of the things that I got was Leisha's new video.
What the? Okay, Alex Belcher said, apple taste off, Granny Smith apples are bust. Granny Smiths are the green ones, right? I think Granny Smiths are the sour green ones, and I really like those in apple pies.
Those were my favorite
They
when
set
I
off the
was
sweetness,
younger.
but I don't like them to just snack on.
I kind of like me a yellow apple these days. Not because I like things a little bit. Like I like my bananas not quite ripe, and everything where they're
chalky.
just I don't like them. I like them just post chalky.
Okay.
When they're not chalky, but they've still got a little of that little tang to them. Yummy. And I feel the same way. Like green apples too sour.
Yeah.
But I like it with a little of that sour. And so a nice yellow apple.
Let's see. Carlton Schapp said you should do cats versus monitor head to head. Their temperament seems similar. The monitor might be more cooperative for filming.
Yeah, I've been thinking, would you guys like to see a cat video? Cats are actually a fairly reasonable pet, and I would like to talk about cats too, about the importance of not letting them outside, because what they do is they're great at murdering stuff, and that's what they do all day.
Do you see her pinky?
All the day.
There it is. You grab it.
Hey, baby girl.
She's getting tired, so we got to finish up these.
Okay,
chats,
sorry.
and I think we got to call it. Alex Belcher said, have you tried quilling for cards, Leisha? It's super cool and something you might really enjoy. Quilling, I think that's when you get little teeny tight like strips of paper and you roll it up and you make all different designs. Look it up. Is that what quilling is?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is, but maybe that's something else. And if that's the case, I've never tried it. And somebody's saying, yes, I love cats, cat video.
Quilling.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Leisha knows her spiraled paper. That's cool.
It's really rad, except I don't think I have enough patience for that. And they said, it is, Leisha, it is. Okay. Yeah, I've never tried. Maybe I should look at
You should totally do it. Do it.
I don't have enough patience.
Quilling.
People are amazing
Quilling.
at that.
Quilling.
Okay,
Quilling.
let's see. David Cooper didn't say anything but sent 50 pounds. So if you
Super
have a
duper
question,
chat.
David,
Holy smokes, that is so nice. Thank you,
so
David.
Nice. And Kyle.
If you meant to attach something to that, make sure to just go ahead and ask us a question.
Yeah. And Kyle sent $5 with nothing attached.
Thank you so much. Holy smokes. Yeah, again, if you guys have questions.
Yeah. And
Thank
people are
you.
saying, love me a cute cat in a harness out for a walk.
Now, what kind of cat? Okay, because I will tell you. So, like my friend Kevin has a cat. Her name is Nix. She probably wouldn't love
No.
hanging out at the reptile room.
She would hate it.
But it's probably that's the cat I have the most ready. Moana's cat.
Yeah.
I could probably track down the cat.
Pony.
But the cats that I'd get really excited about would be like a Bengal or a calico, especially if it happened to be a male calico.
Because you would love to talk about that
Oh,
story.
yes. I just geek out about genetics.
Yeah.
Geek out.
Geek out.
Is that all of them?
That's it.
Holy smokes! And we
all
did all
done.
the Patreon.
All the Patreon. Did you want to look on your list to make sure you hit everything?
Oh, I don't even know if I did it all, but I'll save some of my list for next time, I guess. Oh, we never decided though. When are we gonna do the next one? Because Christmas Day is probably not good.
Michelle said she's trying to talk Will into getting a cat.
Oh. We'll love that cat.
Yeah.
So
Zoe.
you'll get him. You'll get him. You got this, Michelle. Let's see. Should we? I'll make a poll.
We're thinking about doing it Wednesday next week.
Wednesday? Would Wednesday be good? If we did it Wednesday before Christmas? That's probably the best for me. We'll talk to Jason and Michelle and just make sure that works for everybody. But I think that'd be great.
Real quick, somebody sent a super chat. Damian Wilkins said, so I've lost 2 king snakes in June and still haven't seen them come back. Do you think they still might come back?
It's not impossible at all, especially if they can find water. King snakes can fit into some pretty small places, and having them be gone that long, I just don't know.
Oz says Wednesday is good. Everyone's saying, yeah, Wednesday. So we'll have to see what the rest of the team can do.
All right, but I would say tentatively, let's plan on that. Awesome. Well, you guys are fantastic. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's so much fun, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. As always, like and subscribe. We hope to see you real soon.
Bye. Martha, say bye.